Hello, it's Catherine from Cat House Studios. Thank you so much for joining me today while I edit a warm, very autumnal photo. So get cozy, grab yourself a nice warm drink, and let's get started. I crop the image and I delete these cropped pixels because I know I will not be needing any of that visual information from the walls in the background. So what I'm doing now is just masking out this image, which means creating a layer mask, and I'm just cutting it out. I did not use high quality photos at all. This is more of just a personal project for fun, but if I was making this for an ad or a poster or for a client, I would definitely want to use a much higher resolution image. It is a great idea to have whatever you're working on be at least 2000 pixels wide in the end, but bigger is better. You want all the space you can use. So when I start zooming in on this video, you can definitely see that the image isn't that big and there are a lot of pixels in your face, but we're working with it. I had this idea in my mind for a few days as we started to feel a bit of relief from the summer heat, and I just could not wait to create this. I enjoy summer quite a bit. My birthday is in the summer, but where I live the weather likes to be either extremely hot or extremely cold, so these in-between seasons are very special. I know a lot of people love fall, and I'm certainly one of those people. I love to get dressed up and celebrate the themes and the holidays. I'm just zooming in and moving around as I continue to mask this fairly accurately. I put a layer of black behind this so that I could more clearly refine the edges and make sure that I didn't have any crazy masking errors at this point. I will go in and refine it more later, but for now this is just another quick pass around everything. Now I take this image and I drop it into my document. If I was a very smart person, I would use the perspective from the background and figure out exactly how large a person should appear in this. But, you know, what are you gonna do? If you really want to stress yourself out, pay attention to how long it takes me before I save this. So here I am cropping in the background. I left delete cropped pixels unchecked so that I still have that visual information if I want to uncrop later. I still have the option. Now I'm going in and making the nails black. There was one painted black nail, and I just took the color from that and I painted on the rest of the nails. Looking at it now, I think they're a bit flat. I probably could have gone over and added a highlight to imply that the nail polish is shiny. Now I'm going over with a pure black to add some dimension to the nails. Here comes one of the most fun parts for me. So I'm creating a new layer. I'm clipping it to the outline of the person, which means when I paint over it, it will not go outside of what I cut out. And I'm painting over it with this orange-red color. So now I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing which effects I like the most from the blending modes. I ended up choosing Color Burn, and I turned down the opacity so that it's just a wash of this kind of auburn color. Now I make a new layer and I go into the pumpkin and do something pretty similar. I just paint it in with a flat, spicy, warm pumpkin spice orange. And then I will look at the blending modes again and see if there's anything that catches my eye. I scroll through here, and so far I'm not seeing anything that I love, so I just leave it for the time being and I move on to a different part. I mess with the levels of the overall image and get it to where I want the highlights and shadows to be. Now I'm zooming in to the outline of the person and I'm refining it just a little bit more. Now I make a new layer called Makeup Mockup, and when I envisioned this, I imagined having like a warm brown eyeshadow, so I go in and add this here. I blend it out, and I also wanted the eyes to be obviously blue, like unnaturally a little bit. So I go in and paint over with a really saturated blue color, and then with the blending modes, I scroll through and see what I like. I end up going with color, and I turn down the opacity so it's not as stark. Then I go back into my makeup layer and I brush on some bronzing and contour. I really wanted to make those cheekbones snatched. And then I go over the rest of the skin. If you watch doll repaint videos, they call this blushing, where they just go over certain parts of the skin and kind of airbrush it with a darker color. I moved the subject down a little bit to make her seem like she belongs in that space. And I play around with the pumpkin a little bit more, but I still don't love it. So now I go back in over the blue eyes and I add a brighter blue just to make them pop a little more. Then I name my hair color layer. I actually name it. Now I take a big soft brush and I make this brown vignette around the whole piece. I set it to multiply, which makes it darker, and I play with the opacity just to see what I like. I start to mess with the layer mask again of the subject, just so she blends in a little bit more seamlessly. I did add another vignette layer and I go in with another crop so that the subject really stands out. I try to drop in a different landscape image for the background just to see what that would look like, but it doesn't turn out that I like it very much, so I just delete it. Okay, this is when I tried to use perspective warp to straighten out the zipper. I don't generally like to warp things in images, especially like body parts, but I felt like the folds in the dress were pretty distracting, and especially the zipper. So I tried to straighten it out without making the body look different, but I decided in the end it wasn't super successful, so I just went without it. Now I go in and choose a darker color that's already in the hair, and I paint over some parts with it. I wanted to give the hair more of a shiny effect. So I set that to multiply, I turn the opacity down, and I blend it out. I zoom into the edge of this pumpkin because it got pretty blurry, and I just crisp it back up. Now I start to go in over the top of the person, and I've clipped it to the mask. I just do some kind of dark airbrushing around the edges of the person. I'm not sure that makes very much sense with the lighting, but it does make it feel more cohesive and dramatic for me at the end, which is definitely the feeling I was going for. Now I zoom in again, and I do a little more fun stuff with the hair. I erased some of that darker area, and I did kind of a smudgy artificial highlight. And now I'm just recentering the image against the background to see where I liked it better. I try to see if I would like more of a shadow at the bottom, but in the end I don't go with that. So I wanted to add a watermark and a signature, and I remember really liking it from this previous project, so I just go in and borrow from that. I really futzed around for quite a while with the position of this, so I cut this footage down a lot. I just slap on the watermark and the signature, that's all you need to know. So here is the original image and the finished result. I hope you have enjoyed your time here. Thank you for watching. I hope that the upcoming season is kind to you and very, very cozy. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.